Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the stuff people hate to talk about, and that's money. A lot of people don't like talking about money. They don't like to financial plan. They don't like to budget. They don't like to goal set. In fact, they don't want to look towards what they have done. They don't want to look backwards at how much they've spent. And sometimes they don't even want to look forward at how much they are spending or need to spend. Did you know 86% of Australians don't know their monthly expenses? 86% don't know their monthly expenses. So are you part of that 86%? It's really interesting because when I take you through that exercise today, you'll actually go, what the? And it's enlightening, but super empowering as well. As a business owner, I think one of the best things that ever happened to me was having been broke. And it wasn't self-inflicted brokenness. It was just moving states, moving countries, having babies, getting married. That just took me from having money to no money. But it made me account for every expense. We'll have to account for every expense I had, especially because in South Africa, we didn't have Centrelink. So I had to do my due diligence to make sure that I had money to feed the family. And that due diligence then helped me as a single self-employed woman, 2 years ago, be able to buy a house, which is unheard of. And the reason is because I did this. I empowered myself, I educated myself, and I continually did the yucky stuff that because I know how beneficial it is. So we have to reflect on our income and expenses as business owners. So if we want to make a profitable business, we got to act like business owners. We got to actually own our business. If you want to be a business owner, you have to own your business. Like seriously, I say that quite often because you do. So many people fluff about and they do all the nice stuff. They don't want to do the other stuff that business owners have to do. But if you find out what other profitable business owners are actually doing, this is the shit that they do, and they spend a lot of money on it to get it right. So it's imperative that business owners are fully aware on both their personal and business. Now, again, I cannot say this enough, personal and business expenses. When we do this exercise, it's important that you do it for personal and then you do it for business. You do them separately. It's really, really important. And now's a fantastic time to do it because it's end of financial year here in Australia, which means that you can go in and you can go and do your income and expenses for the whole of last year. And you can have a look at it, you can reflect on it, and then you can obviously forward plan and budget as well. So we are going to go through the process of budgeting, forecasting, and I have included a template there for you as well. As I said, we've actually got too many expenses to fit in that template. So if you've got a pen and paper, get it out. But what's really cool is that you can actually cut costs. And when I first did this, which was about it must have been just before I met Sandy. So we're looking at about 7.5 years ago, I worked with a mortgage broker coach. So I didn't have lots of money. I divorced my husband, had 3 children, had a health, wellness, and fitness center. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I paid an expert to work with me to save. And people go, what? You should have been saving money. Why did you pay money to save? Because that was a smart decision. I would have never been able to buy my house 7.5 years, well, not then, 5.5 years later. I would never have been able to buy my house if I had not gone to her, invested in her, and then done the program. So investing in something is one thing. Actioning it is another. Believing in it and seeing it through is completely another thing as well. So I used to find it very, very funny how when I had my health, wellness, and fitness center, people used to come to me, and when I said to them, they'd say they want to lose weight, and I'd say to them, well, up your sessions at the gym. And they'd go, I can't afford $40 a week. But then they'd be at, you'd go into their Facebook profiles would be popping up in your timeline, and they're having, cocktails and this cocktail and that cocktail, tagging themselves. And, the cocktails are about $20 each. So I did a little stat for you, and I did the stat for them too, because I'm that type of girl. But 3 $20 cocktails every Friday night is $3,120 per year. Okay, $3,120 per year. Now you could be spending that money on getting your marketing and your business in check. Or go to the gym. So no one is saying don't have cocktails, right? I'm not saying don't have cocktails. What I am saying though is can you afford cocktails and budget for cocktails? Because what will happen is not only will you enjoy those cocktails more because you'll have less hangovers the next day, but you'll also have more dollars to spend on more valuable things. Now, one of the reasons that I also decided to sign up with a mortgage broker coach 7 years ago was because I'd also met Sandy. Now, Sandy is a single man, no children. Me, single, 3 children, right? That's my expenses. That's his expenses. And he likes to travel and he likes to do stuff. And I went, well, if I don't save and if I don't get my money in check, I'm not going to be able to keep my business alive, feed my family, and be able to go on holiday with this man because I can't expect him to pay for me. But how am I going to do that? So people would go, well, oh my gosh, like I had the same amount of money, but now I actually had less money because I was paying a coach and I was going jawling is the South African term, partying with my partner, traveling all the time. Bali, South Africa, where else have we been? We've been all around Australia, and I've been able to afford all of that, and I had the same amount of money, but now I was actually spending more on this stuff. So I just want to show you that it is energy. So another example is people go, they got no money, but they're spending $5 a day on coffee. So $5 every day is $1,760 per year. Whereas you could buy an LD coffee machine for $90 and you could buy pods if you really wanted good coffee and come home and have your coffee, right? So all successful and profitable business owners know their money. If you ask them how much money they make, they will tell you. If you ask them if they're GST registered or tax registered, if you ask them the income and expenses, they will know it like this because they know how important it is to their success. So here's some extra stats that I found for you, okay? The living cost in Australia per person, you might want to write this down. The living cost in Australia per person is $2,835 per month, which is $654.23 per week. The living cost in Australia per person is $654.23 per week. Okay, that is the living cost.
What was the year? 2000.
Per year it's 34,000 per year.
Oh,
that's the
2001.
2,835 is per month. The living expense per month. I like to work in weeks because most of the stuff I pay for is in weeks, and most of my income comes in weekly. So, I will refer to weekly. So if you focus on that $654.23, bearing in mind, we're a family of 5 now, so times that by 5. I know everyone's going, oh, remember that knot I was telling you about? Be very careful about the emotion that you're putting behind what we're doing here. This is empowerment. This is not debilitating. This is empowerment. So $654.23 per week, which is $34,000 per year, is the living cost of the average Australian person. So I want you to consider where you sit in that. Okay, are you above that? Are you below that? Because I was watching Current Affair the other day, and one lady was complaining about, they brought her on because they said, rates have gone up, petrol's gone up, everything's gone up. They had this chick, okay, in a gym outfit, but she had, Botox, makeup, the little kids running around. She had this mansion looking house. And I'm like, checky dude, you're complaining. What about the rest of us? Like, she looked like she had it all. So where do you sit in all of that? Because so many of us are living above our means. So with, so this is the breakdown of that $654, right? Your rent or your mortgage, you're looking at $444, this is per person, $445 per week. Okay, that's the average, right? Food, the average is $215 per person per week. Recreation is $211 per week. And insurance and financial services is $176 per week. So think about where you sit with that. Okay, where do you factor into that equation? Are you living above your means? Are you spending more money than you could be or should be? And should's really important. I don't know if you saw that there's a thing that goes around every now and then, and it's about all the people that made lots of things. And I know Walt Disney's one of them. So actually, if you Google it, I'm sure it'll come up. Where Walt Disney is in a garage from like working 24 hours a day to build his business. He's in a shitbox garage, working it out, no money coming in, no sleep, no nothing until he grew his business. And the now entrepreneur is driving around, having coffees during the day, networking, little catch-ups, got the Mac computer and driving all around, spending petrol. And this little, I don't know what it is, not like a joke, it's kind of like a satire comedy type thing that goes around. And it says that with this laptop lifestyle, people are living above their means. And that's why their businesses are growing at such a slower state, because they're living above their means. And they're expecting it not to be hard in the startup phase. So knowledge is power. Without a budget, things can spiral out of control. So when I first did this, I saved about $500 a month with the mortgage broker coach. $500 a month we found. In fact, I had multiple subscriptions that were doing the same thing. Like I think my Microsoft subscription actually included like Netflix or something. So I had both, whereas I could use both. And if I was with Telstra, well, then I could be getting, movies for $12.50. And then you could buy tickets, like we've got Red Hot Chili Pepper tickets, so we can buy those cheaper. So, it's about managing your money and using those coupons and using those rewards and those loyalty things as well. And in the beginning, it's a bit tough. Like I remember with the mortgage broker, when we went through and we're tidying everything up and we put a budget in place, it was a bit difficult because it was like, well, if that's my coffee and my takeaway budget, and if it's gone for the week, it's gone. Like no more. That's it. Which I was quite clever then. I'd go sell stuff. So I'd go sell my clothing or stuff I didn't want or furniture. And, I sound like a drug dealer or like a gambling person, but no, because, and there is actually a method to that, because when you get rid of things that you don't need anymore, you get money in exchange for things that you do need. So it's actually a really good relationship to have in being able to sell things to get things. Okay, so very difficult in the beginning. And I remember the first couple of months was really hard, but then I was actually able to buy a trip to Bali and go to Bali with Sandy because I'd saved money just by following my budget. So when you see the reward of it, it can be quite rewarding in itself. When you wait for the fruits to actually bear fruit. And from there, obviously, I've been able to buy the twins a car as well, buy myself a car, and then also buy this house. And that was just being able to put these things into place. So do these for both your personal and your business finances. And I just need to say this, please note, this is in my opinion. It's all my opinion. It's not professional advice. You should always talk to a bookkeeper or an accountant. I can highly recommend that you read The Barefoot Investor. The Barefoot Investor, the mortgage broker coach that I did was very much based around the philosophies of the Barefoot Investor. And I found it very helpful having the different accounts where money went all into the different accounts, and you could touch this one and not touch that one. It just made it really, really doable. And Barefoot Investor have actually brought out a kids book now as well for children too, if you don't know, which is pretty awesome. So number one, get a handle on your expenses. Sounds easy, eh? So there's 4 types of expenses. Number one is variable expenses, meaning they vary from month to month. Electricity, gas, groceries, clothing, it's up and down, right? Variable expenses. Number two, the second of the 4 types is fixed expenses. Expenses that remain the same from month to month, like maybe your rent, your cable, like your Netflix, maybe car payments, they fixed. Then you've got your intermittent expenses. So they're expenses that occurred various times throughout the year, and they tend to be in larger amounts. So tuition payment, car repairs, like your car rego and things like that, or even your car insurance. But here's the thing. If you pay those things off like a year in advance, you can actually get a discount. And if you can't get the discount, it's actually better for you to pay those things off monthly, again, in my experience. Because for cash flow, if you're paying it weekly and it's the same amount of money, it's better for your cash flow. But if you save a large amount of money, it's better to do it to pay it in advance. Okay. You can also sometimes negotiate different rates as well, like you pay it. So for example, I went to the gym and I said, if I pay up front for the year, can I have a cheaper rate? They said no. Very bad business planning, but that's just my thought. Being 20 years in the fitness industry, I would have taken the money to pay up front for the year. So you should try and negotiate. And the last one, number 4, is discretionary, non-essential expenses. So expenses we don't need. So eating out, buying gifts, snacks, coffee, cocktails, you don't really need them. So non-essential expenses. So if you don't use something like Xero, download your bank statements and you can do the exercise in on an Excel spreadsheet. I love it because it adds up everything in columns. So you could just go through, put it out on an Excel spreadsheet if you don't have Xero, and it will just all add it up for you. So, and it's going to completely surprise the heck out of you as well. And what it'll do, it'll help you. And this took about 2 or 3 months when I first started with the mortgage broker coach. It probably took about 2 to 3 months, and we went and investigated, could we get stuff cheaper? Could I get my car insurance cheaper elsewhere? Could I get my medical insurance cheaper? Do I pay it for the year? Do I pay it off weekly? Go and shop around for electricity, rentals. So, you know, when you do this, now go spend the next 3 months going, how can I get this better, and see how much money you can save. It certainly is empowering. Okay, so write these things down because these are the categories, and this will be written up as a blog on the website, chantelgerardi.com.au, within the next sort of 24 hours. But if you are writing it down, you want to get a handle on this as well, go ahead and do this. As I said, I like to do it weekly, but sometimes it's monthly. So you've just got to write it up monthly. Before we do this, I just want to give you a formula. Some people do, if it's a monthly amount, they just divide it by 4.3 to get weekly. If you want an accurate way to do it, and this is the way that we did it in the fitness center, is that if it is a monthly amount, so say you pay $1,000 a month, you times it by 12 and divide it by 52. That will give you the weekly amount. That's the better way to do it. Some people divide it by 4.3. I don't think it quite gives you the right way. So I prefer to do times 12, divide by 52. There are 52 weeks in the year. I think so. Yep. Okay, so that's the way that you can then get your weekly amount in there as well. And using 2 different colors can help as well. So for example, if you're paying $1,000 monthly and you've worked out that it is, I'm just saying it, $100 weekly, then you could do the $100 weekly as yellow, but then when you actually pay it like on the month, on the day, then maybe make it red. So you know that that's when you've actually got to pay for it, so you don't lose track of it. Okay, so here's some of the things that you've got to record. Your accountant, your bookkeeping, bank fees. So many people don't do that. Travel. Remember, we're doing this for personal and business. Okay, personal travel, business travel. Education, equipment or furniture. Again, personal, business. Gifts, personal, business. Networking, expos, Stripe fees, easy debit fees, rent, insurance or financial services, motor vehicle, like your rego, your petrol, office printing, postage, software subscriptions. Oh my gosh, that one destroys me. Just starting your business by just looking at all your software subscriptions for the year, you will be mind blown. And make sure you're on the right package, because I still to this day keep finding things that I could be on a lower package. Because I might not be using it. So how many people are on Zoom paying for Zoom webinar and they could just be on the Zoom meeting? So it could be saving a fortune. Cleaning, telephone, internet, again, shop around, virtual assistants, groceries, recreation, superannuation, because as small business owners, we should be putting super aside, GST, tax, medical, pets, you have to put them in there, they cost a fortune, childcare, loans, and any debts that you might have, so like credit cards. So number 2 is you got to track your income. So I like to name it what it is on my website because that helps me. So all my programs that are on my website are named as income. And that way I can see what programs are selling the most and when people are buying them. So I can review that and go, oh, look, they buy them quite a bit in Feb and March. July is very slow. So I like to specifically use the names. If there is an expense that relates to that income, I like to use the same name. So let me use an example. Say I pay a virtual assistant to write an email for Rachel. So say Rachel wants an email. She pays me, so that's income. I've now got to pay the VA. I'm going to put this is how much it is to write people's emails. And this is how much it costs me to write people's emails. And this is how much income I've got from writing people's emails, just as an example. So I like to make sure that the names are the same so that I can actually compare my income and expenses against each other. Also can be hard to do. So for example, it would be the same with postage. Tara, I know like some people would say, don't worry about doing it, it's just postage, but it might be good to sort of compare. The only way you're going to get a true figure is when you look at the postage and go, well, hold on a sec, like it costs me really a lot if I do it per one or per two. So at least you can compare income and expense. So these are just some examples for tracking your income. One-on-ones, I do them separately to groups. If you're a product-based business, individual products, because you want to know the income for individual products. Bundles, management services, if any of you have management services, workshops, expos, networking, online programs, grant subsidies, rent income is really important, welfare, Centrelink income, and then of course if you've got any other investment income as well. So the next thing we've got to do then is we've got to look at our hidden savings. So where can you renegotiate your prices, which we've spoken a bit about, and how can you reduce costs? So renegotiate and look at reducing costs, and perhaps price search before buying. There was a lady yesterday, she was standing in front of the tea bag. She was an elderly lady standing there, and I could see her searching. The tea bags, I think, were reduced from $5 down to $3. She was on and she was having a look to see if the tea bags were cheaper somewhere else or if that actually was the cheaper price. Again, if you're watching Current Affair, there's the, what is he? He's called the something ninja. I have to find it. And he's basically telling everyone to open your eyes. I think he's called the opinionated fruitineer or something. And he keeps saying, open your eyes. They keep going for sale. You know, I think yesterday, I saw it at Coles. They went for sale. Avos, $2 each. Whereas Avos at the moment, you can get for $1 each. That's 100%. They're screwing you. They're screwing you 100%. And if you keep going, yep, that's okay, I'll support it. Well, don't. It's 100% they're screwing you. It's not 10 cents. I don't know about you, but I hate being screwed. So it's like, go and have a look. If an Avo is $1 everywhere else, why are you going to pay $2? Don't do it. So I sit down at home now and I just have a look and I just see what deals are where. And I go, right, I'm going to get this food here, this food here, this food here. Cool. Next one. So what can you do without? This one's important. If you don't have enough money, there's some stuff that you can do without. Can you do without paying for Spotify? Paying for maybe Apple, like your audiobooks? Can you do without paying for Netflix? Like, the reality is if you don't have money, you can't do that. You can't spend money on that stuff. So I'm not being ridiculous. It all adds up. And this is the problem. When people go, oh, it's only like, what's Netflix? $15, $16, $18 or something. It's only $18 a month, but that's only $18 a month. That's only $15 a month. That's only an extra $30 a month. It all adds up. When you look at the year amount, it all adds up. And if you're not earning it, you cannot afford it right now. And many of us, especially as we go into this recession right now, remembering that it's how you look at it, you have to know your numbers. You've got to know the numbers of what everyone else is charging you, and you've got to be truthful to yourself. Can I really afford this, or do I need to get rid of it? And you need to be able to have foresight as well as into when is the shit going to hit the fan. So if you know your figures, you can forward plan and go, well, if I carry on like this, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And you got to do something about it. You got to cut it now. You can't cut Netflix the month before you're not going to be able to pay rent. It doesn't work like that. Spending above your means puts you in a very unnecessarily stressful position, and it contributes towards underperformance, overwhelm, and anxiety. And that's so true. Contributes to underperformance, overwhelm, and anxiety. So to help, you need to look at where your income came from. Where has your income come from? If you know every single bit of income that's come in from the last year, and if you know how that income came in, or if you can reflect on what was the process around bringing in that income, you just have to duplicate it. And you do have to believe it's going to work. Belief is really important, because if you don't believe, you're looking backwards, you're not looking forwards. If you don't believe, you are looking backwards. If you believe, you are looking forwards. So look where your previous money has come from and go and replicate that customer journey. I know when I sat down with Jane, we're going, no, Jane, but where did they come from? No, Jane, but what did they do first? Where did they see you first? Then what did they do? What was the process? No, not, oh, someone just, bought something. No, you have got to go back and customer map it and go, what did they do? How can you replicate that? That is the easiest fix. And then how can you improve on what has previously worked? And only then do you then look at untapped sources. Now, this is where a lot of people go wrong. They go straight into creation mode. And I think I was talking to Rachel and Daryl about this yesterday with another client that I had. They go into creation mode and they throw everything out. Woof, fear. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm now going to do something completely new. You lose momentum. You lose the footprints. When you are moving forward, there are footprints and they're going forwards. And those footprints are going to help you to get where you're going. But as soon as you turn around and go backwards and you give all of that up, you've lost your way and you have to start again. You have to start nurturing. It's a whole new process, a new audience, new offer, new audience, new offer, new everything. Why don't you just get right what you've got? You are closer right now with what you have and what you've done because you've had success. You are closer now. But if you do not keep up momentum, you are cutting it. Snip, done. And then you've got to get algorithms going again. You've got to get audiences going again. You've got to get nurturing again. You're making it hard. Turn around, face towards them, pull them in. Do not go to untapped sources until you have gone and replicated what has worked previously and improved on that. And if you need to get a part-time job, cannot say it enough. Honestly, I've done it many times in my life. Get a part-time job. I think it has been phenomenal for Jane. It has been phenomenal for Damien as well. I think sometimes you've got to go get a job and it's okay. I think Damien said it. It gives you the reality of like, I'm earning this amount per week or whatever, and I could be earning this amount per week, but it takes the edge off. And if you're spending 20 hours a week on your business and it's not making any money, you might as well spend 10 hours on your business and not make any money and spend 10 hours doing something else that is making you money. And that's just the reality of it. It doesn't mean you're going to be unsuccessful, but it is going to take the edge off and help. And then on top of it, we've now got to start saving. So we've got no money and we've got all these expenses and we're struggling with our income and we're trying to overcome our stress and anxiety around money. And then Chantal says, and you have to save. Well, this is something that I learned and it was incredibly sort of challenging for me. All right. But 30% of what you earn is not yours. Okay. Every time money comes in, take 30% and put it in another account. That is tax, that is GST, that is emergencies, that is your car rego for the year, that is whatever. So even right now, if you're not prepared to do your income and your expenses, if you just change this rule and put 30% aside, and that is the hard truth. And you know what happens? You just find the money. I did that when I was saving for Bali, saving for a house, plus paying the mortgage broker. I was 3 times less money. I didn't make any more money, but I had more money because I was spending it less on things that I didn't need to spend money on. There was a time where I didn't drive my car. I rode my bicycle to the grocery shop to save petrol. And it's fitness. Why not? I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a huge positive. And you know what else? You can only carry 2 bags of groceries on a bicycle. Maybe a basket in the front, a basket in the back. It's about as good as I've got. So you know what? You stay in your budget. No more big packet of $3 chips or anything because it's too much to carry on the bicycle. But you just get excited about it and you just go, that's cool. I'm going to do this. Don't do eggs on a bicycle. I've done that. Just don't do that. You'll have footprints of eggs the whole way home. I've actually done that twice. I don't learn very easily. All right, cool. So money is everywhere and money is energy. And just some examples of where money is hiding. Okay. Coffee cards. Buy 10 and get 1 free. I have a rule. I will not buy a coffee unless it's part of a loyalty program. Yes, I'm coupon girl. I will go through McDonald's drive-through and I will sit there and I will download my one-time code and I will put it in and I will not buy coffee unless I use my code. And Sandy knows that as well. Sandy never used to do Woolworths cards or rewards cards. He now uses my cards and I just go, just swipe these because you're helping me out with points. And those points with Coles, I've bought bottles of wine. I've bought stainless steel knives with the reward system and get excited about it. What Sandy does do is he spends everything on his credit card. And then before it turns into an expense, he pays it and he gets points. And then he normally gets about $200 of Bunnings vouchers, which he gets probably every quarter just from doing that. Money is hiding everywhere. So coupons online and on receipts. Okay. So go do your Googles. Rewards cards, saving on fuel. I've just signed up for an Ampol company fuel card because I can get points something, I don't know, whatever percent. People go, it's only 2 cents a litre. Only 4 cents a litre. For goodness sake, it all adds up. Okay. ING, when you put money into an ING account and you do 5 transactions per month and deposit $1,000 into it, you get like double interest. Why wouldn't you do that? So my rule is when I buy a coffee, I use my ING card because then I know I'm only going to get about 5 coffees per month. And then if I put I think it's about $220 a week into my ING account, that's $1,000 per month. I'm now getting double interest per month. Why wouldn't you? It all adds up. And your car regos and insurances, you just have to shop around, work out, as I said, are you going to pay it off for the year and save? Or sometimes there is no saving. So pay it off. One of the best things I ever did was pay electricity weekly. Paying electricity weekly is one of the best things ever because I do not get a quarterly big bill, which makes my tummy go, just don't. It's just weekly and it's a direct debit. It just comes out. That's another little trick.
It actually is good too in the way that you actually end up in credit because we did that too. When we first started the business, obviously everything was really tight and you don't miss it. Like you said, if you actually have it automatically go out and then at the end of it, I'd actually be in credit. So that was even more of a positive and excitement. I didn't even know anything. Excellent.
And Centrelink is exactly the same. Undercap your Centrelink. So if you think you're going to earn whatever per year, tell them it's $10,000, $20,000 less. I've gotten $5,000, $6,000 refunds at the end of the year. So that's another one. But I love that, Rachel, because that's what I was going to say about the direct debit. When it's a direct debit, you do not feel it. When I say feel it, I mean it in 2 cents. I do not feel it here because I'm not paying a bill. And remember, energy behind thoughts creates reality. So when it just comes out, and we did this at the gym, as soon as we had people paying weekly on direct debit, they would just show up and come and they were happy. But when they had to pay us each week, it was this icky feeling between everyone. So get direct debits happening. Let them take your money. You know, if you owe them the money, they must take it and you must do without. Simple. Sell unwanted clothing and furniture. So there is a whole, if you follow Sandy Foster, and, you know, I've done her money mindset program a few times, there is this whole thing about creating space for new things. So if you want a new car, then you do up your car, you sell your car, and then you buy the new car. So if you want to get rid of your dining room table, get rid of your dining room table, then buy another dining room table. So it's about energy out, energy in. So go and sell your stuff and get some money from it, which is good. What else? And say thank you when it comes. So your thoughts backed with feelings will create your reality. We are going to talk more about that next week. So forecasting your finances. Now that you know your income and your expenses, and now that you know that you've got to cut back on your expenses and go do some research about how you can do that, the next thing is to be able to create goals. Okay. To be able to create SMART goals. Again, I just use that from the fitness industry. But if you work week to week, then I like to make weekly goals. A lot of people go, oh, I'll make a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan. And, you know, with the mortgage broker, it was like a 7-year plan to be able to buy a house. She actually said to me in September in 2000, I think it was 19, you'll be able to buy a house. And I did. So that's about the biggest goal I've ever made and met in my life. But all my other goals are, you know, if it's weekly, if you get paid weekly, make weekly goals, income and expenses. Okay, SMART goals basically mean they need to be specific. So if you want a house, you don't just say, I want a house. You need to just be specific about what house you want. If you want clients, you need to be specific about what those clients are. What type of clients are there? Be super specific. They're happy to pay you. They pay you on time. They're happy to pay you. They love what you're teaching. They get results from you teaching. Be specific. Measurable, meaning that you're going to go in and you're going to have a look at it and you're going to go, is it working? Is it not working? And you're going to test and review it. Attainable, meaning that you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot. Don't set yourself goals that are so high and uncomfortable that you're going to fail. I know that one of my first boyfriends that I had after I got divorced, he always would set ginormous goals because he said, when you set ginormous goals, if you don't meet them, you usually fall about halfway. If you set baby goals, you actually normally sit halfway to those baby goals. And I was so scared doing it, but he certainly was right in that you don't set them too high that they're scary. It still needs to feel comfortable, but set them where it's achievable. You can break it down and go, look, logically, I can do this, especially if you've reflected back on what you've done previously. If you know like 1 client a month is all you need, well, then that's your goal. 1 client a month, 2 clients a month, 3. Is that a week, a day? Just set those goals. So attainable, realistic as well. Make sure that it's realistic, obviously. And then time-based. So time-based is like by when, but if you're working it out weekly or monthly, that will help that. Then you need to vision board it because, as I said, your thoughts backed with emotions will create your reality. So you need to be able to see it. It needs to be on a vision board. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you've seen can you see my screensaver? Can you see my screensaver? Yep.
Yes, we
That's
can.
what I've got. I have that on my phone. I have that on my work desk. I have that on my desktop as a screensaver. This is actually from Think and Grow Rich, the book Think and Grow Rich, about writing it down in the I am. Writing it down in the I am. Don't just say what you want, but say what you're willing to do in return for that. So for me, it's about empowering, educating, and supporting business owners with improved skills, strategies, and systems to develop their business and online marketing. So what are you prepared to do for that? Okay. And again, we will be talking about this more in the next session about warriors versus being warriors. But that came from Think and Grow Rich. Okay, cool. Where are we? Let's see where we are. So you need to be able to see it. You need to be able to read it on a day-to-day basis. You need to be strengthening your muscle, and you need to be specific about it. Money's energy. Check your attitude towards money. Check yourself. Slap yourself in the face. Do whatever you've got to do. And go, nah, I just did that. I'm not going to do that anymore. Pinging is really good as well. If you've got a bracelet, Damien might be able to give us some other strategies as well. And Rachel, there was something I asked you to share as well at the end of this too. So I'll get you to do that. But thoughts backed with feelings will create your reality. Many business owners are feeling really despondent at the moment with the looming recession. If we focus on being despondent, we're looking backwards. We need to be empowered. We need to look forward. As I said, next session, we will be talking about warriors versus warriors, and taking those negative thoughts and turning them into magnetic positive thoughts. All right, cool. So we'll leave it there today for that, for today's presentation, but we will go to Q&A now for those that are live. And as I said, I did ask for Rachel to share. And Damien, if you've got any strategies around sort of the anxiety and the relationship with money, or even just want to validate something I said, or even mention something I said that maybe may not be right, please feel free to do so.